about the picture?
Mhm.
Oh, girl, I'm back home now.
Oh, you
that,
talking
was just a little, that was just a little quick something or another.
Okay.
Got it.
Have y'all reported back? You haven't reported back yet, have you? For
No, and I don't even know if it's going to be in the classroom or virtual.
yeah, we had to go back Monday, and we were told Monday that if needed, we can be virtual. So I'm virtual because we've already had a couple of schools that some teachers and administrators have been
Tested
found
positive.
right.
I heard about that today.
Hey, Eb.
Hey.
Just so you all know, we are live on YouTube. I'm gonna have to move this little part of the video off because I gotta finish this slice of pizza. Otherwise, I'm gonna be hangry on this
I
call.
was about to say hi to my subscribers.
El, what's up, El?
Hey there.
Eb.
Why is it I'm having like a real bad lag trying to let people in?
What?
I may have to log
You
in.
having what, Rika?
I said I'm having a real bad lag. Like I'm on my laptop and I'm seeing a real bad lag to log people in. So I may have to do it from my trusty dusty iPad. Give me just a second.
Okay, because I let everybody in so far. I didn't share the number with a ton of people this week. I liked it when we had like 15 people. It was a much more intentional conversation. So we're going to try to go for around that number again this evening. But we're already live on YouTube. So just so you all know, we have our community there if you want to say hello to them as well.
Hey,
Hi.
hey, Tay.
Hey, girl.
Hey girl, hey.
Girl, hey.
And I prayed before we started, just because, this could be a heavy topic for some. So,
Let me tell you,
what?
yeah,
Sure.
listening to that podcast episode, right? Like, you know how you be thinking you together, and then somebody start talking, and then your eyes start watering, and you be like, "Whoa, sis."
Mine did the little twitch. My eyes started twitching like.
No, but I was talking to my therapist today. He said, I was telling him about something. He was like, how does that make you feel? I don't know why he asked me that question. That was all it took, was that question. And I was just like, and he was like, it's okay. This is an emotional topic. But he caught it. This is my first visit with him. I have a new therapist. And he caught it and said, why are you trying to hold back your tears? And then I'm like, I'm acting just like Megan Thee Stallion. We're so conditioned to do that. Hi, Alyssa.
Absolutely.
Are we saying your name correctly?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Awesome. We're doing well. And Tiffany's on here too. Lady, she is actually the creator of the podcast. So say hello to Tiffany.
Hi.
Hi. When she was talking, I was like, "Oh, I feel so relaxed." Just listening.
It was the intenseness for me because you can hear the passion and how she was almost fighting.
Lost the cook.
Wait, it went quiet. What happened?
Frozen.
Oh no. Cookie, I think you're frozen.
Hello?
Oh, there you are. And so wait, so I'm gonna stop you. You can't share your thoughts on the podcast yet because we have to ask that question, remember? So you have to wait a second and talk about it. And I just got this feeling in my spirit that this conversation is going to take the full 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and get started right on the 8 o'clock mark because I want us to have all the time in the world. And generally, I prepare a ton of questions. I do have some questions for us to start, but I also feel like this is going to be one of those conversations where we're just going to address things as they come up, right? So let me go ahead. I'm going to start with the presentation just because y'all know that has become the thing. But I was telling the ladies, for those of you who have logged on after I said this, I missed seeing all the beautiful faces on the gallery view. So I'm not going to leave the presentation up the whole time because I want to be able to see all of your beautiful faces as we're having this conversation. And then too, because part of emotional intelligence is being able to scan the room as you're speaking and looking at the people who are talking or who are listening to you and how they're responding to what you're saying. That tells you whether you want to pull back or if you want to keep going, right? So I would encourage all of you to put your video on gallery view so you can see all of the women who are part of the conversation. And if it's possible, try to leave your video on. I know sometimes we have to do some things. I've been on some Zoom calls where I'm like, I'm trying to cook and make a shirt and do this, and I don't want to have my eyes everywhere. But if we can have the call on and the camera on, that'd be great so we can see your faces. So let me start the presentation. Let's see. Hey, so welcome to the virtual connection. As I mentioned earlier, we are already on our YouTube channel as well. So Rika, are you able to let people in right now, or is it still tripping? Rika, let me check.
Sorry. Hi guys. Okay. Can you make me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see. Let me make you a co-host real quick.
Yeah.
There's somebody trying to get into the room. So I'm gonna start and then I'll tap you in when I get to Mama Rika. But for those of you who are new, because I do see some first time women on the call, welcome to the virtual connection, which is our virtual version of Pods and PR, which is our in-person event. Basically, we take book podcasts and discuss them in a book club style fashion. It's structured like group therapy, and the conversations are very therapeutic. So I want to make sure I say that like 1,000 times, and I'll get to why I'm telling you they're therapeutic, so you know beforehand these are therapeutic conversations, right? Our goal is to improve mental and emotional well-being, to increase emotional intelligence, and to normalize therapy for, especially for the minority community, because we don't really trust therapists and the medical system, and we don't really rock with therapy like that. We hear about it, it sounds good, but we don't always consider it as a means of healing. So this is just normalizing therapy for you and letting you know that there are resources available and they're waiting for you to use them. So your hosts for tonight are myself. I'm Tiffany Ellis, and I'm the creator of the platform. And then I have my best girlfriend, Shanta Jackson, the homegirl therapist. And our social media information is found below. If you're not following us already, please make sure you do that. And then we'll introduce more or talk more in just a second. I want to introduce Mama Rika. She's going to go over the house rules for today's conversation. Uh-oh, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Okay. The multitasking stuff. Good evening, ladies. Happy Friday as always. I am Mama Rika, affectionately known in the community because I love on you. This is a safe zone, like Tiffany said before, so don't worry about feeling judged. Trust me, there is a shadow for you. So if you feel like you ain't going through it, somebody's already been through it and they can tell you how to get through it. We're going to use not kid-friendly, but adult-friendly. So if you want to say sugar honey iced tea or Fraganac or HE hockey sticks, that's fine. But, we try to keep it clean because we want to be able to share this with somebody else. If you are in your first time here in the participant tab, if you tap that, there is some hand raises and hand lowering. If you raise your hand, that indicates to us you have a question, a statement. You simply use that and we can address you, and I'll let Tiffany know and Shanta know because they also sometimes don't see it. And we'll kind of say, hey, okay, so Jocelyn got a question, or Jocelyn, your hand is up, and that way we'll acknowledge you, just so I can make sure, because I'm always a checks and balance. If you are new here, can you go ahead and raise your hand just so I can make sure that you got it? Thank you, Yolanda.
Say it again.
Okay. In the participants tab, do you see that? If you tap it, there is a raise hand. Do you see that? There you go, Melissa. Also, if you are on YouTube, I am in the chat box, so you will see it as R. Hyler or Rika Hyler. Either way, I will be bringing the comments to Tiffany and Shanta there as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Mama Rika. And so, like she said, family-friendly language, judgment-free zone. And what that means is, we're going to ask some questions. So sometimes you might have an opinion on something, and we might not push back, but challenge your question or ask you what, can you expand on that? That's not us judging what you've said. It's us wanting to understand, us seeking to understand what you've said, how you're feeling, right? So don't take offense if we ask a question, but we're really trying to learn from the conversation. I encouraged you all earlier to read the room. I'm going to say it again. And just so you know, I'm putting a little bit more structure around the guidance I give, because if I'm talking about emotional intelligence, it's so many layers to that thing that I have to start showing you where it shows up in everything you do, so you're aware and you understand how to navigate, right? One of the things I want to tell you, focus on when you answer the questions or when you give your commentary, is really good if you like, if you want to share a personal example, if you want to expand or expound on your thought, but be sure that you don't turn this into a personal therapy session, right? So like, talk about what you got to talk about, use your example to solidify your point, but we don't want to start going down this rabbit trail about who you dated in 8th grade, and then when you got to high school, and then when you came to college, and then as an adult, we can't, because everybody won't get to talk, right? And we want everybody to have a chance to speak. So just make sure you're reading the room as you're speaking. And we're going to have fun, right? We're going to have fun, connect, and we're going to grow. Shanta, do you have anything you want to say to kick the meeting off?
Yeah, so did we watch Black is King? I mean, come on. Okay, so, but outside of that.
I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
Yes.
Okay.
No, but seriously, this is while these conversations are therapeutic, and I am a licensed professional counselor here, and I can kind of help guide and offer techniques and things that you guys can use. I do want to make sure that you are aware that this is not therapy. You may walk away feeling good, feeling like, okay, she solved my problem, but hey, it's deeper than that. And so we still encourage you to utilize your own therapist. If you do not have one, please find one. If you need assistance in finding one, just let us know. Shoot us a DM. We got you, right?
Yes.
But this is not the place for you to really use this as a means to heal. This is in addition to, right? This is just a little extra to help jumpstart some things. So, but this is going to be a great conversation. It's probably going to get a little heavy, so I do want to prepare you guys for that. But do know we are here to support you, to encourage you, and to offer you tools and techniques to take with you at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. And then, as always, we are team first, but we are company second. So what that means is Shanta and I are going to be giving you our personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the subject matter. In no way do these thoughts, feelings, or opinions represent any of the organizations or brands we are affiliated with. Look how we got to start saying this, sis, because
yeah, I know. I was like, look at us.
But they don't represent any of the brands or organizations we are affiliated with. Also, each of the women on the call have voluntarily agreed to take place in the conversation, and understand that there will not be any editing of anything that's been said. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I may edit the first 2 minutes because I was scarfing down a slice of pizza. Not appealing. I don't know how to eat pizza sexy, y'all. So it looks like a whole mess. I'm just gonna take that part off and start at the introduction. But otherwise, we're not gonna be editing the video. So if it's something you don't want out there, just be mindful, because once it's in internet land, it exists forever. Okay.
You hadn't seen the comment. You want to test out your volume again for me? Because I know you over there saying, hold on. We got to make sure Shanta heard when she dropped them gems.
Am I still low?
I hear you.
Yeah. You're still low to everybody. Like, we can hear you, but it just sounds like you're very far away.
Okay, let me move it closer. I don't know, because it's all the way up, my volume. And I'm scared to touch anything because I don't want to, like, mess nothing up. I don't know, y'all.
That's better. So maybe that's better.
Okay, maybe I pushed it closer. Okay. Let me
So keep it closer to you. I do see the difference now. If you keep the computer closer to you as you're speaking,
I got
we'll be able to hear it. So we've also started to give away virtual connection boxes. And so last time we had a contest for, well, it wasn't really a contest. We just encouraged you all to purchase a plant, name it after yourself. And as you water it, give it sunshine and light and love, talk to it. This is basically the process of affirming yourself. Rika has her succulent right there. So many of the women who purchased plants were entered into a random drawing. And from there, we chose a winner who received a virtual connection box. And within the box always comes standard goodies, which are things from Shanta. I think her journal was a part of the box. Her cute homegirl pen. Did you give us some of the smell goods too? What else did you put in there?
Oh, I did. I think I did give her some smell good and a little picture to hang on her wall with one of my little sayings. So
awesome. And then I provided her with, and Nikisha was the winner. I provided her with a Therapy versus Everybody shirt, and one of the other shirts from the collection, a Did You Grow shirt. And she received an autographed copy of the book, The Memo by Menda Hearts. And I think there was a virtual connection water bottle in there as well. So this week we're going to have the same box available, but we're adding my therapy cards to the mix. And this is, I'm excited about these cards. I purchased some for myself because I want to go through the process. And usually before we will recommend anything to the community, we've tried it, we know how good it is, and it will tell you all like, yo, this is good. So my therapy cards are the first self-exploration cards created by a Black female psychologist for other women of color. And so basically the therapy cards, it's like a deck of writing prompts, and it asks you questions, and it allows you to journal about things you've experienced, feelings you have, all kinds of stuff. So they're super dope. And we'll be selecting a winner to win a deck of the My Therapy cards and a virtual connection box. So stay tuned for that, right? All right, so now we're gonna get started. I have a question in the chat. If you can type for me, let me open up my chat so I can see it. And Rika, if you can look at the comments on the page as well. In the chat, I wanna ask you, if you don't have to be considered the strong friend, you could be, you could consider yourself whatever you want. When you are in need of help, any kind of help, whatever kind of help it is, how do you ask for help? Or do you ask for help? So if you don't ask for help, type, I don't ask for help. If you do, how do you let people know you are in need of assistance? Jocelyn said, I don't.
Ooh, a lot of them saying they don't.
I don't. So am I correct in hearing my sisters say that we are suffering in silence?
of course.
No, Yolanda answered. She said, I searched for answers for a while, then I asked.
Okay, I like it.
Cookie said, I don't.
Evie said, when I am in need of support, I usually will send a text message to my tribe and let them know. I love that idea. That's really, really cool. Ev says, I don't, but when would I need help? What do you mean? Akeisha said, I learned to about 2 years ago. Tiffany from Organized Energy said, I will ask as a last resort. Buki said, it gotta be something I really, really, really need to pick up the phone. And then Kia said, I usually don't unless I'm at my breaking point.
I got someone who answered too. I'm going to say her name wrong. I apologize if I do. Simone T. She says, I ask for help usually from close friends.
Okay. Shanta, how do you ask for help? Go first.
I used to be the person who didn't ask for help. I'm still learning and working hard at like not falling into my default settings is what I call it. But typically I go to my husband.
Okay.
Like I ask him.
Okay. And is that the only person you feel safe asking for help?
It's funny because I feel safe with a lot of people. I don't know why, I just don't. I think I feel more vulnerable with my husband, and I feel like he gonna get me right, and so I think that's why. But here recently, I have been reaching out more to my best friend, she on here, and like expressing to her how I've been feeling or whatever. But I'm getting better.
Okay. I do not ask for help. I suffer in silence, so I'm not judging. This is why I'm not judging anybody in the comments who said I don't ask for help, because sis struggles with that too. We'll talk about it in a little while, but I realized it as, I was listening to the podcast episode. I don't know how to ask for help. And so I will be like in shambles, and I might call my best friend. She's on the call too, because best friends always be on the call. We got some good best friends. Best friend, I'll call her and usually pour my eyes out, and she'll just listen to me cry, and then I'll cry, and then I'll just move on. It's like a cleansing act that takes place. But I don't think it's solving the problem, right? Mm-hmm. So I was curious to know how we go about it. Evie said, I actually created a Facebook group called Evie's Care Team, people who have said they want to support me so I can post once and everyone who is in there can see. That's a really good idea.
Really good.
That's a really good idea. Abby always comes with the good ideas. So tonight's podcast is Life Unscripted podcast by Tiffany Williams of Organized Energy. Tiffany is an entrepreneur of 17 years and certified life coach, accountability partner. And she hosts this show as a platform to further her work-life balance and time management work. She also focuses on helping busy, overworked, overwhelmed professionals gain a clearer perspective today. So today we're going to feature her episode, Iii's Tyyde Boss. And I wanted to read it in good old slave lingo. Iii's Tyyde Boss, because that's how I heard it when I initially read it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second so we can see Tiffany. And then Tiffany, I'd love for you to just do yourself some service because I know I butchered the introduction. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and your platform and how you or what made you create this podcast episode.
Hi, everybody, and thank you. I'm just glad to be here. And what caused me to create this particular podcast episode was it was a day when literally I was at a breaking point. And as Tiffany mentioned, a lot of us, we suffer in silence. And so I'm usually the strong friend. So I'm the one that anybody else knows to call or come to when they need a word of encouragement or advice. And at this particular moment, I feel like I had that, I felt like there was a moment that I was having. And I have the moment often, where it's like, what about me sometimes? And I have a struggle with trusting people, so for me, I suffer from bipolarism, and literally I'm either up or I'm down. And so to be in the middle can be a challenge, so and that's in any facet of life. Either I'm in or I'm out, I'm concerned or I'm not. And so with all that being said, if I feel like we can be good friends, I'm probably telling you my whole life story, probably more than I need to tell. And if I feel like we can't deal, I'm probably going to not tell you a single thing. And so with that being said, on this particular moment, I thought, you know what, I have nobody to turn to during this moment that I was having. And I said, you know what? I think there's probably somebody else that can feel me on that, and so that's what caused me to go in my little recording area and to record that session. And I literally was trying to hold back tears. I don't know if y'all was able to hear, but I was literally about to break down in the midst of recording it. And I kept trying to push through and fight the tears to even get through the episode. And when I got done, I thought, I'm not going to share this because this is the work I do. I help people through things like this. And so I wasn't going to show that I'm vulnerable and I'm suffering from this on my own. And so then it really was, I feel like it was the Lord that was like, and this is exactly why you need to put this out here, because it's probably one of the most realist episodes I have done. Everything is always, all perky, but people need to know that you have feelings too, and you have breaking points too. And so that's pretty much the gist of this episode and where it came from.
I love that. And I'm so proud and happy that you decided to share that, because like you said, people, we needed to hear that. I'm a whole therapist and I was in my car about to break down listening to that podcast episode because I felt that, and I felt like the passion that you were saying, the passion that you had. And I felt like that was the day you recorded it, I knew that was like something was happening that day. You could just feel the energy, and we've all been there.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, I'll open it to the floor. I can't, I'm trying to compose myself because as you were speaking, my eyes started to well up and I was like, this ain't waterproof mascara, Tiff, so hold it together. But no, I want to open it to the ladies on the call. And if you could tell me, what were your initial thoughts listening to the podcast episode? And basically just raise your hand and then we'll call on whoever's ready to speak. I'm going to call on Cookie. She didn't raise her hand, but I'm going to call on her because she messaged me like, cousin, this podcast episode, before I have you talk, this is how I knew this is godsend, right? So you weren't going to put the episode out, Tiff, and you were like, I'm just not releasing it, whatever. And then you did. And so Shanta and I were speaking, and Shanta was like, I really want to talk about high functioning depression. And I'm like, this is a really good topic. And we were like, we just have to find us an episode. That's always the hardest part. We have great topics, but it's like finding content that matches what we want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took a nap because I was asleep from work, woke up, and I said to her before I went to bed, let's just put a message out on social media. And if we have a ton of podcasters who follow the platform, ask them if you have an episode addressing this topic, let us hear it, we'll feature it. I didn't do it. I went to bed. I woke up, and in my DM was a message from Tiffany saying, hey, I just recorded this episode last month. I thought it might be a good one. Check it out. And I got chills immediately because I was like, it's a God thing. Like, this doesn't happen. It's just like in our laps, right? So immediately I said, we're supposed to be talking about this week. This is going to help someone, hopefully everyone. So thank you so much for being obedient, because whatever led you to message me led us to this point, and this conversation is going to be therapeutic for so many women. I know it already. So thank you, Tiffany, in advance.
Oh, thank you. And it's you all, and I listen. So Tiff and Tyyde are married, and other people on here have indicated they're married. And I used to be married. I was married for 10 years. I've been single for 7 years now. And so when you've grown close to someone and you have a spouse, they kind of become, innately your best friend, or you may have a friend outside of that, but they're, that you all have that pillow talk, or you have that support. Being a single mother, divorced, single 7 years, and I'm in a whole new city. I've never relocated before in my life. And just a year and a half ago, I up and moved and came to another place. I'm out on the East Coast. I'm by myself now. And so you really feel the absence, it hits different, when you don't even have a mate, whether you're dating or married or whatever, when you don't have a girlfriend and you don't have a mate, that whole Meg the Stallion thing where, Tiff, you had, posted, the video that she had put out there, that she felt like she had people around her, but still she felt like she had nobody around her, or she felt that's it. And so that whole video clip hit different for me, because I'm like, this is it right here. And she was even putting people around her and still feel lonely. I don't even have anyone around me, and we're in a quarantine. You know what I mean? So it's like all those things compounded make you feel like, okay. And then this is what I do. I'm strong for other people. It's a part of my work, and you do without a friend, without a mate, without anything. And then you're in a whole nother land by yourself. It's like, who can I call on but the Lord? But even my old pastor would say, everybody needs a friend with skin. Yeah, we can say we got the Lord. Yeah, we do, but everybody needs a friend with skin. Who can I call up, and talk to when I need, or who can I call up and not talk, and they know everything I'm saying through my silence,
I love that. I love everything you said. Cookie, I want to ask your thoughts about this podcast episode.
Okay, so my cousin put me on the spot to speak first. And this kind of touched the depths of my soul, because this has been a really rough summer for me. I won't turn this into a therapy session, and I will not cry. I will not cry. But I just recently started therapy because I had some very trying things.
Hold on, I just don't make me cry.
Oh my God, Tiffany.
Y'all mute me, go about y'all life then.
Look, I'm gonna be a background cheering. Yay!
So up until this week, I wasn't able to call it what it actually was, but I attempted suicide a few weeks ago. And up until this week, I haven't been able to say that. But it hit different for me because I know I have a support system, and sometimes I think even with having strong people around you and being the strong one, you still sometimes don't want to seem vulnerable. And this podcast let me know that other people experience some of the same things. And I think the biggest thing is being afraid that you are experiencing something alone. Not that you don't have people around you, but that the thing that you're going through, you're the only one that's going through it, right? Because we're supposed to be successful and we have our children and we're supposed to be good parents and we're doing all the things that we're supposed to do. And it's like it's turning out right on the outside, but in the inside, maybe we're not meeting the goals that we've made for ourselves, or whatever is causing us to feel like we are not reaching that bar. Like, yeah, my children are happy, but I'm raising a 14-year-old girl right now. So those of you that know anything about the teenage years, I have a 14-year-old girl, okay? So that is going on. And then we have all of these things that are going on inside of us that we can't really explain. And I was tired, boss. I was tired. I was tired, and I got to a point where I didn't want to feel anything. Like, I just didn't want to feel. And it just touched, like, to hear the affirmations in it, though. The, like, I'm here, sis, you are important. Like, to hear all of those things, and I specifically love the fact that you write a letter to yourself every day. And you tell yourself those things that you want from other people are actually within yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing, being able to say, I am enough, regardless of what my flaws are. It just really, like, I listened to it 5 times, literally. And I got something different each time. But like, just the passion that was in your voice, and to know that, yeah, this is your work. This is what you do. Like, I'm a teacher, I'm a giver. This is what I do, but I also have moments where I am weak, and it is okay. Yeah. So that was the biggest thing for me.
So I have to say this because I believe like a lot of my friends consider me like the strong friend, right? And the day that happened with you, Carol, I was so mad at myself because that was the week of my brother's funeral, the day of my brother's funeral, the day before. And I was up working late at night. And when I'm up at night making shirts and stuff, I always call my cousin and we'll be on the phone for like 3 hours just talking about nothing. And so every night I'm always like talking to her. And I text her the next day, the same day that this happened with you. I text you and I said, I miss high school. How high school, you used to be like my sounding board, my voice of reason, like the person I could trust with my secrets. You were always so supportive. And you text back and you said, no matter what happens, I love you. And I was so busy with Boo's funeral, I saw the message and I kept doing what I was doing because I just didn't have, like, I was emotionally exhausted. And then your dad came up at the wake and said, your cousin's in the hospital and she's unresponsive. And I didn't know what to do because I'm like, we're on the calls. I talk to you all the time. You know that I'm here. And I was trying not to make it about me because it's not about me, but I felt like, what didn't I do? So you need to know you're loved, right? Because you are. I can't keep going, I'm sorry.
Cookie, know we love you. YouTube has actually expressed some love and some hearts for you, and we're definitely happy that you're on the other side of that rainbow. Like that you're gonna be here, that you're gonna give us all your teeth and your jokes and your lively life. Like that means something to each of us. Like I've known you as long as I've known Tiff. And I see the growth in you. So just know that you are loved. Like you are definitely loved, and your daughter loves you, and the boys love you. So if you ever feel like you ain't enough, just pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, Rika," and be like, "Hey, girl, hey."
And you have my number. I want you to reach out to me and give me your address because I'll be on your side of town all next week since I am going to be working virtually. And however you need me, I'm there for you.
Let me say, Cookie, I'm proud of you, right? So being able to come to terms and to call a thing, that is extreme growth. And that is an indicator for me that you're ready, right? Like you ready to do what you got to do to get to the place that you know is already prepared for you. And when it comes to suicide, I think a lot of people have this misconception that it's that person being selfish. But suicide is only wanting the pain away to go away, right? It's this feeling that I don't know how to cope anymore. Everything I've tried is no longer working. Every mindset that I've had is no longer working. I know people love me. I know that. The struggle is I'm not sure I love myself, right? And so that is the key piece. And that's why therapy is important. That's why being in a community like this is super important, to know that you're loved. And then on your part, Cookie, is to reach out, right? Even if it's just like, I don't really know what I want, but I just want you to sit on the phone with me. Somebody gonna do it. We got like 17, 20 people here. Somebody gonna do it, right? And so it's just, as we are learning about this, as we are showing love to one another, we always have to remember to take care of ourselves, right? And that's why this podcast was like super important to have. Like this conversation needed to happen, and I'm so glad that it's unfolding in the way that it is, because there are people out there who have never said the words, right? Who have never admitted what it is. And they need to know that it's okay. And we all struggle with it at some level, at some point in our lives, right? And so we just have to be open to accept the love that people are giving us, and then using that energy to fuel ourselves and learn to love ourselves.
Absolutely. We got Kyra, your hand is up. Kyra, you okay? You ready?
I'm gonna try. Cookie, I love you, girl. That's just, it's hard. The question was about Tiffany. Listen to your podcast. I can vision stuff like while you're talking. When you said you was in your closet, like I'm visioning you in there and just hearing how you sound. That touched me. I was driving myself, and you know, I shed some tears because I felt you. My little area is the bathroom. I go in the shower.
Yes.
I turn the shower on. I mean, I don't have no hair. I can snatch this little ponytail out. So I let the water just, you know, hit me, and I just sit there. Best friend, no, I don't normally reach out for help. That's bad. I'm working on that. Because I have, and I know best friend felt it, but I have been having a little difficult time. Just, you know, with the new move, not having a job right now. Like, it's been a lot. Oh, but every day is a great day, and we're moving forward, and that's it. But I felt you, Tiffany. I was there with you in the closet, like I was there with you.
Thank you.
Do you want to respond before I go to the next comment?
I'm sitting here trying not to cry. I'm sitting here trying not to cry. Honestly, I am. And I say that because it's a beautiful thing to be able to, you know, that you're not by yourself. You know, we know that other people go through. But I think because we are so used to being expected to be strong, that we don't give ourselves the opportunity to be vulnerable and just sit in a moment of weakness. And it's just so important just to sit with those feelings. And so I'm trying not to cry on this. I'm listening to your stories and they're beautiful. And but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Akeisha, and then we'll go to Yolanda, and then, so remember guys, because I'm going to forget ladies, I'm sorry. Akeisha, Yolanda, Jocelyn, and Buki.
I just want to add to what Shanta said. She was talking about reasons for suicide. And a lot of times, and I've been here too, a lot of times we feel like hope is gone. So I just want to offer you that message. Hope is not gone, and it's never gone. And we have to consciously and constantly remind ourselves of that when we are in moods that cause us to have this negative thinking and the thinking that we don't want to be here no more and there's no way out. I'd like to encourage you to also put a sticky note everywhere, just positive affirmations, and that phrase right there, hope is not gone, just to help you remember that it's still there. I felt like that on a lot of different occasions. One occasion was when my father died. I just felt like the hope that I had for him and I was gone. But I had to remind myself it's not gone. There's things that we can still do to live the life that God has for us. And I also I had to write it down, y'all, because I had so much. Every time somebody said something, I had something else. But I want to offer this to Tiffany and to Cookie. I know you were saying, Tiffany, that you felt some kind of way. You felt a little bit of guilt because you were so busy and you saw the message and you didn't tend to it. But everything we go through, there is a reason. And out of every experience, there's wisdom. So take everything you've been through, Cookie, even the attempted suicide, and know that there is a reason, and your story is going to bless somebody else like it has already done right here on this call. And know that God makes no mistakes. Even in that, not saying that that is of him, but even in that, everything happens for a reason. And just ask him to reveal that reason and go forth.
Thank you so much. Yolanda, your hand was up.
Yeah, so I'm a long-winded person. I actually took notes on the podcast. So first, Tiffany, thanks for doing that, because whatever that moment you had, I work in finance, and in finance, I work in a very Caucasian, very male space. And it is difficult to normalize a conversation about money because people don't know that this is for me too. So when you share a story like that, or Cookie, when you share your experience in such a public space, we're here talking about it, whoever's watching it today on YouTube, but the ability for someone to come and look at this and watch this later and realize like, oh my God, there's all these women sitting here saying that me too, but in this case, it's about the things that we need for ourselves, or the things that we need to cultivate further. I'll say that I don't ask for help right off front, because I've just become a person. I look for all the answers first to make sure I haven't left a stone unturned. But I think a lot of my piece comes from my career, being able to advocate for myself, because nobody gives a crap. If you're not out there doing the things you need to do, it's hard to get someone's time. I think I find more stress when I don't get the help that I ask for. That's when I start to shut down. If I ask 5 people and 4 of them blow me off, and then 1 doesn't give me the answer that I need, I get super frustrated. But what brought me to this career is I used to work in disability claims, and there is something about women that you could have cancer, but you will still be trying to figure out who's picking your kids up from school, how you're going to put dinner together, what you needed to do for your spouse. You're taking phone calls from coworkers trying to help them at something that you don't need to be talking to them about. And women do all of this and then some, and they'll do it right out of chemo. They'll be sitting in chemo trying to figure out how to do these things. So there is something about women that we don't get enough credit for the things that we do. And I think that becomes a story that we tell ourselves sometimes. And what I always ask myself at the end is if this is the honest truth, or is this just a story that I'm telling myself to get through this? And then I find a new story to tell myself. And if I can tell myself a different story, which I found that valuable, that writing the letter to yourself, that's how you write it down and make it real. I thought one of the things you said, there's no time to be weak. I feel like that all the time. I'm the most senior advisor in the city out of my company. So we get new Black girls in, and I feel like I have to do everything. I have to be there for them, because if I don't do these things, that maybe they won't feel like they can do this career. Maybe they'll feel like this isn't for them. So it's so important to me. And I realize that that is what probably causes me the most stress, is the desire to make them feel welcome. I don't really have anyone that I turn to. I do have a therapist. Super helpful. I wish everyone had one, because I think we'd all do better if we had someone that we could relay things, to. But I also think that, I don't know if any of you have ever read Brave Not Perfect by Raisha Shojani, but she highlights a lot of important sociological factors about why we are the way we are. And I find that's a book that helps me identify what are the things that I'm doing that are perfectionism behaviors, and what are the things that I'm doing that are just brave. And knowing that it's not okay to force perfectionism, but it's absolutely okay to be brave and to be different. So actually, I love this, and that's what drew me to this. Maria Vanessa sent me the link, and I think it's just incredible to sit in a space where all of you are super articulate, super intelligent, but also in touch and empathetic enough to have this conversation. So thanks.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much for your commentary. And we're going to, I know this is your first one, so we ask for preliminary thoughts, and then we have questions, follow-up questions, and we dig a little bit deeper on each of the topics. So some of the things you touched on, we're going to talk about. But I'm going to go to Jocelyn. Your hand was up about the episode. And then Buki.
Yeah, so Yolanda, you just hit me hard over here, because I am the strong friend. And when I've gone through my cancer scare, when I've gone through, I was in really bad car accident, I was rear-ended by 18-wheeler, I literally just picked up the pieces and kept moving. I never took the time to heal, like physically heal from my accident. I even had postpartum depression really bad, but I knew that I had another son and a husband and a career that I just had to keep going. And I never sought out care for myself. And it's even like that in my family when people need help. When I was listening to the episode, I was just like, I don't know how to ask for help, because when I've attempted to ask for help, I actually was told, like, by my mom, oh, I knew you were weak, but she has always been heavily dependent on me. So that made me shut down from asking for help. And I've been where Cookie was, where I attempted suicide, and I continue to have suicidal thoughts, and I just push through them. I need to get another therapist. That's on my to-do list before the school year actually starts back up, because I've been going through some things here. But I saw someone who put down, like, okay, sometimes it's you don't know how to ask for help, and you don't know who to turn to, especially for me, when the person who I thought that I could lean on pretty much showed me a ways. And I've had bad therapist experiences, so that also like turned me away. And Tiffany touched on that. Tiffany Ellis, I forgot we have two Tiffanys on here. But Tiffany talked about the loss of trust in that physician-patient relationship. And it was not so much that the person, did not uphold to the confidentiality part. It was just that they didn't dig into other things. They just hit the surface and they didn't ask the appropriate questions for me. I felt like, I'm like, well, they were like, oh, so you have this kind of issue. I was like, sure. And maybe it was my own fault that I had no idea how to talk to a therapist But being in this platform and having Shanta, like Shanta is just like, you could just talk to her. So that's showing me that I can go into another therapy session and be like, look, girl, this is what's going on with me. Just be very plain, but it's going to take me getting out of my way. But yeah, everything that you said, I've always dubbed myself the married single parent, because my husband has always been very not a part of the process of parenting. He's always been, working 2 and 3 jobs and everything. So everything fell on me. And it's a lot when you have children and a household to run, and you're trying to go to school and you're trying to, have a career and everything. And when you break, everybody look at you like you crazy, like for real, like how are you this strong person that we see all the time, but you weak. And for Black women, we have sort of been conditioned to, don't let anybody see your crown being adjusted. It's supposed to be perfectly on your head at all times. And that's hard. That's a lot of weight to bear, trying to be the picture of perfection all the time. And I'm tired, eyes tired, right in this very
I'm excited to hear you say that you're looking for a therapist. I know, because I'm moving to Georgia, so I had to go on therapyforblackgirls.com, and I found a therapist up there, and I had my first visit with him today. He was really good. So if you want his information, Jocelyn, and he accepts insurance, and my copay is $0.
Yeah, I saw your post. I was like, hold the phone.
It was a full-out twerk session. Ladies would have found out I had $0 copay. Okay. All right. So Buki, we're gonna go to you. Your hands up.
Yep. So I want to say thank you to everyone who is sharing their stories. It always makes it a little bit more comfortable for people like myself to then share. So I thank you for your transparency. When talking about kind of like your safe space, or just the place that you go to, your hiding space, it took me back to my childhood, which for me, the only place I could get away from was under my covers. I lived in a apartment with my brothers and sisters and my mom, and the 4 of us siblings shared a room. And so, as you can imagine, there was never really a place to get away from all the crazy things that were happening in my life. And it took me back to just, and I had this conversation with my therapist the other day, like, growing up was really hard. We went through a lot. And I think because of the severity of things that we went through, I don't remember a lot of my childhood. Like, I don't have memories of just being with my family. I don't have memories of vacations. I don't have memories of anything. If you show me a picture, that typically helps. But because of just the trauma of everything, and now as an adult, I can look back on it and say, oh, that was depression. That was anxiety. I just had it as a child, and I had no resources. Like, there was nothing available to me, especially if anybody of you know, growing up in a Nigerian household, like what mental health, what? Like, what is that? And so now I just always feel so blessed when I'm able to hear stories like this, listen to podcasts like this, because it makes me think, wow, I'm so blessed to have grown out and come out of that situation. And although I don't remember a lot of my childhood, I'm making memories now, and I'm working through my trauma now. And, for me, it was one thing I saw, I think yesterday, some rapper, I don't know his name, but he's starting a campaign where he is, I think for 8 or 12 weeks, paying for mental health or therapy sessions for like 150 Black kids. And I saw that and I was like, oh my goodness, that just gave me, that's part of my why. That's part of my goal now. Like, in 5-10 years, whatever it is that I'm doing, whatever it is that I'm called to do, that has to be my goal, is to give back in that way. Because had I had something like that when I was a kid, my goodness, the trauma I would have been able to work through at that time. But just listening to you guys, listening to the pieces of that podcast talk about just how we work through this as women, it brought me back to that moment. So thank you guys for sharing.
Thank you so much for sharing. Y'all, I'm a precious Shantae. Now look, I need y'all to help me real quick because I've been telling Shantae, can y'all imagine how dope it would be if kids got to meet Shantae as a therapist?
Yeah.
Just process that, okay? So Shantae don't really do kids like that, but like
I barely do my son.
So y'all come into agreement with me. Go into prayer if you can. Talk to the universe, God, whatever. Talk to somebody.
You're gonna have to send down the crew to get that to happen.
Because
something like this with kids.
I'm thinking. Okay. So yes, I can do like, I just individual little babies, because little babies come with big parents. It's a whole thing. Okay.
But I mean, like something like this, sis, where we could like, because I told her this a little while ago, like kids, and I worked in a school with some kids this past semester before COVID happened, and like the way kids were just like, they like were so happy to see someone who was listening and just leaning into them and allowing them to be who they were and understood their music and their dances. They had me making TikToks with them, and I was all too happy to do it. But kids need to see that this is what a therapist can look like, so that they're not like growing up with the stigma of I'm going to be on this couch and be diagnosed and medicated and I'm crazy now. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. Right. Go and present and tell y'all how dope therapy is and do that. But listen,
I ain't your therapist.
It is right. It's different. It is a totally different ball game, and there are therapists. I know a few because I get them all the time. Can you see my son? Let me refer you out. Because you really have to be delicate and strategic because they are children. And then again, if you help the kids and they go into a home where the environment is still the same and the parents aren't willing, it can be a little tricky. And so it's just, I can show y'all though. I can still go with you, and say hey.
We got 18 prayers on this call. Send them up to the big man. Tiff, your hand is up, and then we'll move to the next slide.
Yes. So Tiffany, first of all, when I tell you that when I see you online, I feel like I see myself. Literally, sometimes I have to check what I'm doing, what I'm posting. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to think because I'm telling you, we are of the same mind. We are, and even when it comes to working with the kids, a part of the work that I do, or before I moved here, I contracted with like the largest school district in Kentucky. And I came in and I ran mentoring and programs for youth within the schools too. But what I wanted to say along the same lines of the kids, and then somebody said something about the letters to themselves and what I put at the end of the podcast. So I've had people to literally say, I love the podcast, but my favorite part is at the end of the podcast because I can't wait till you get me to the part to where I get to say those affirmations to myself. I love that part. And I want to say this, that I literally, I started writing those letters to myself out of the fact that I did not have a support system around me. You have people say, girl, why didn't you call me? You could have called me, but you got them, they're not, so whatever. And so what I had to do was the things that I was wanting to hear from someone else, I had to, and I wasn't able to get that from someone else. I had to start telling it to myself. And there in that situation, when I thought that there was a low point, there was God setting me up for a peak. Because what happened was that was the kickstart of me actually developing my journey to self-love. And I had to have nobody around me that I felt loved me so that I could then go inward. I had to go inward and look upward to get the love that I had been desiring so long and so deeply. And so that being said, literally within the last year, because I journal, I'm a huge proponent for journaling. And so in my journal, whenever I pick out I didn't really want to have books scattered, like a planner and a journal and a this and a that or whatever. So I try to get like a planner for the year that has has room on the day to write out my schedules, but it has like a to-do section and it's got a little note section. And in the little note section, I write, like I'll journal like what, and I usually just itemize. I'm a list kind of person. So I would list in my journal what is on my mind. You know, number one, this is on my mind. Number two, this is what I'm thinking about. Number three, this is, so because, you know, writing paragraphs would intimidate me, but writing a list out I can do. So what happened was, as I began to journal and do this every day, and I began to seek, I'm like, I wish I had a boo that would affirm me. I wish I had best friends that would affirm me. I wish I had better parents that would affirm me. But unfortunately, that did not happen from my life, you know? And so that being said, I said, you know what? So one day I just started doodling and I was like, you know what, dear Tiffany. And literally I just started, it was just a one day thing. It was like, dear Tiffany, you gonna be all right. Dear Tiffany, I love you. If nobody else loves you, I just know I love you. Dear Tiffany, da da da. And it became this thing. And so the next day when I sat back down to do my journaling again, or write out my to-do list or whatever in my planner, I did it again and again and again. And now I'm a year later and I'm every day, dear Tiffany, I love you. Dear Tiffany. And not only that, but I have a 6-year-old. My kids are grown. I've got 2 that are adults. And then I've got, so up until this past year, one was like college age, high school age, and middle school and elementary school. But the high school's graduated now and the middle school's gone up to high school. But anyway, I say all that to say the 6-year-old, because like somebody said, they wish they had therapy, you know, when they were younger, Buki said. And so, but I didn't have that either, but I'm wanting my children to come up a little bit more whole than me. So my 6-year-old, she has the same planner that I have, or one similar. And her to do, and what she has to do every day, she writes out what's expected of her. But one of the things is she says, dear Paisley, you are strong. Dear Paisley, I love you. You are beautiful. You are smart. And so, and whatever she feels like saying for her, whatever her affirmations are, she does it on her own. But I have her writing that out even at age 6, because whether or not she has a therapist or any other resource, I'm trying to teach her now that she needs to love herself. And again, the principle of looking inward and looking upward. So I just wanted to say that for anybody else that needs to feel like they love themselves or don't know where to begin, you know, a lot of times if you say it enough, and you hear it enough, you'll begin to believe it, you know. So I write it and I recite it, and I encourage anyone that's here, that's listening or on YouTube Live, to try the same thing. And I guarantee you, or I can almost guarantee you, that you will look at yourself different and you'll conduct yourself different, and that love will be there that you didn't know you had for yourself.
I love it. I'm really going to be writing myself a letter. Somebody else said that before too, or somebody said they write letters to God. But, yes, but Tiff is writing letters to herself. So we got all kinds of letters we could be writing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thanks, Tiffany, for sharing the YouTube. So YouTube's actually responded. Shonda said, it's hard to trust others with your pain. I admire you ladies for being so open. Dion says, Shantae, she with Tiffany. She says, someone who looks up to you, who looks like you. So just FYI, kids.
You got YouTube coming after me?
YouTube after you. I think I'm going to say her name. I'm just going to say her last name. Ms. Vessel said, thank you guys for being transparent, for the transparency.
Thank you, ladies, so much. I definitely appreciate that. Evie's hand is up. Evie.
Yeah, I'm really appreciating this conversation, and especially it being a group of Black folks having this conversation, because I feel like this is a conversation that I've craved probably my whole life, like a lot of you all have talked about, to have with other Black folks. And the thing, I guess, that as I was kind of reflecting on how I even got to the place where I shared earlier that I created a Facebook group called Evie's Care Team, and it took me a journey to get there. And and I'm hearing some reflection of that from what other people are sharing. And so I wanted to share a little bit about my experience, because I had that moment where, so last summer I was in a car accident on the highway, and I wasn't able to walk for a period of time. And at the time I was living in Seattle, and my family, I'm in Virginia now, this is where my family is, but at the time I was in Seattle, and I remember needing something that was pretty simple, like maybe some groceries or to like get my prescriptions picked up, and I couldn't go do it myself. And I remember sending out a text message to 13 people who were in my geographic area, and no one responded. And it was like the worst. It was just, I was just like, wow, like I've lived here for 3.5 years. I am in this moment where I literally need like physical support. It's not like I just need moral support. Like I actually need someone to like go to the pharmacy and get my medication. And no, and I was like, wow, I started having this feeling like I don't have any friends. Like no one loved me. I was like, no one is responding. And it was like in the middle of the afternoon. It wasn't like I text people at like 2 a.m. or something, you know. And so I started thinking to myself, and then I started feeling like really like, you know, getting that feeling of like hopelessness, of like just total isolation. And I was like, this is not good. Like I could tell, I was like, this is not a good situation. I'm getting in my car and I was like, okay, I could try to drive myself. This is probably not a good idea. I could take myself to the hospital because I'm feeling like I'm not even sure that I'm safe to be by myself right now. You know, I started going down the list, and then it occurred to me like, okay, there are people outside of the Seattle area that I know, and maybe I should let me widen my net. And so I started down the list of people on the East Coast because that's where I've spent most of my life. And the first person I texted responded and was like, hey, she's a doctor. She's like, I have a patient in 25 minutes, but I have until then. And then she called me. And it was like, just having that person who was like, okay, I will make time for you. Like, yes, I have things going on, but I'm going to make time for you. And I was like, okay. And so we actually spent that call thinking like, what can I do? And that's where we came up with like, okay, there's all these people all over the country. You've moved around a lot. You know all these people. These people don't know each other. How do you get these people who want to help you and want to support you all in one place so that it's less work for you? So you only maybe have to say something to one person, or you have to make a post on Facebook, or I even had set it up so other people were admins so that I could tell, for example, Maria Vanessa, can you make a post and let people know I need my prescription picked up? So then I don't have to keep asking like 13 different people, you know, because I was like, I don't have the energy to do that. And it was the most powerful thing because, first of all, I invited people to join the group. So it was like, if people didn't feel like they had capacity, they could just say no. But if they did, they could be like, okay, I'm willing to be in this group. I do care about what's happening where I may not always be able to do something, but I want to know what's going on. And then I also was able to see people that I knew who didn't know each other working together to try to help solve problems for me. And that just made me feel so loved. Because I was like, look, these people who love me, they don't know each other, but the thing they have in common is that they love me and they want me to be okay. And so people on the East Coast and West Coast are talking to each other. How do we get Evie's prescriptions? How do we get Evie to this doctor's appointment? You know, Evie needs food. You know, Maria ended up actually coming out to Seattle to help me out because I like really needed help, like just getting around and cooking food and really basic things like that. And 2 of my friends in my group were like, we will get you a plane ticket to go, you know. And so it was like that sort of community care coming together and being like, but it took some creativity on my part because at first I was just thinking like, who are the people in my city who could help? But it turned out that my network was much larger than that. And I just wasn't thinking about it from that perspective because I was just like so tunnel vision, like just thinking about people who were in this city where I live. And then the other thing that I started doing was people have talked about writing letters is I started writing letters to my ancestors. And I started writing letters back from my ancestors to me. Because I was like, you know, I know some of them I haven't met, but like, you know, my grandmother or my great grandmother, like if they could see where I am now, they would be so proud. And I'm looking at myself like I feel like I failed because, you know, I'm in this moment where no one responded to my text messages. But, you know, but like if my grandma Lena, who was born in like, I think it was like 18 something, great grandma, you know, could see where I am now. Here I am like sitting in my own vehicle that I own. I have an apartment, I have a job. I have moved across the country by myself. Like if she could see where I am now, she would be like, my child, like, look at what you have achieved. So that was a really helpful thing for me as far as like reframing, like just only thinking about like the moment and thinking like, what would my ancestors think of me in this moment?
I love that.
Oh, good. I had to write it down.
I'm writing it down right now.
That is amazing. So, clients, if you're watching, y'all gonna be writing letters to you.
Look, while you guys are writing that down, we also got some more comments from YouTube, of course. They are actually loving what you had posted up there, Iiii. That's kind of cool. I don't write because I'm left-handed and God didn't want me to be a writer. So he knew I could write myself. So I had accepted that. Who else? Oh, Shonda was the person who actually said she writes to God. When we talked about that. Dion said, oh man, my comments went down again. Dion said she has a hard time asking for help because when she did help, it wasn't met. So it puts her off from asking. And she says, or framing to ask what she knows certain people are capable of doing. There it is.
I think it's important for us to talk about that. I was going to go to the next slide, but let's do this. Let's have that conversation real quick, and then I can go to the next.
We really got slides.
Well, okay, I just want to show this one video then. Let me show the video. Let me show, first of all, wait, before I do it, how many of you all saw the Megan Thee Stallion video? Raise your hand. Okay, almost everybody. I don't quite see everybody. Tawana, Arducia, Cookie, and Lonnie. Did y'all see the Megan Thee Stallion video? Yolanda, did you see the video? Okay. Yeah. So look, I'm gonna show you real quick. It's like 40 seconds. This. All right. Okay, hold on. Let's see.
You know, we be getting off track and stuff because it be so good and it's just so.
I know. All right. Let me show you.
Imagine being 25 and you don't have both your parents. My mama was my best friend. She, you know, I'm still really not over that. So you gotta try to fill like your space with a bunch of people that you think is making you happy. Shit. Imagine if.
So that's it. That's all the video is, right? But the reason why I thought it was significant to show is because after I posted the video, it was a guy posted this thing, and it was like, this is how hard it is for Black women. I'm paraphrasing, but that we would be on like social media trying to hold back tears, completely dolled up, still trying to pretend like everything is okay because we've been conditioned to do this, essentially is what he was saying. And when he said that, I was like, ouch, because I can recall many days of being taught like, you don't let anybody see what you're going through. You keep your face together. You always look like, I don't care if you broke, you better look like you have some money. Like I can think of all these things I've been told and taught. And so now, like, even in my therapy appointment today, I'm literally talking about like my mom dying, and I'm like stopping myself from crying because I don't want to cry. And he's like, what? He's like, my therapist is like, that was a pretty traumatic experience. Like, pause, stop trying to move past the emotion. Let's come back to it. Why are you stopping yourself from crying? And I had to say, ouch. I said, I'm doing a Megan thing, right?
Yeah.
So Shonda, I think Rika said, talked about not asking for help because she's likely had the idea reinforced in her head that support is not coming. Shanta, do you have anything you want to say about that before I say anything I think on the topic?
No, you go first.
You're gonna hit me with my own line. Okay, so Shonda, I feel you on that. I mentioned earlier on the call that I don't ask for help and I suffer in silence. So there are 2 reasons I don't ask for help. The first is I've dated people and been around friends who made me feel like asking for anything was like a burden to them. So it's like, can you bring me something to eat? That kind of thing. Or, hey, can you grab the kid? Like, you know, I didn't have a car when I had my daughter for many years and I was a teen mom trying to do all these things. Hey, can you grab Lonnie from this place and do that for me? And it's like, no. Or you text and ask the question, and this time I didn't have text messages. I would beep. You know, you beep somebody or whatever. I had a little beeper that you could send messages. Don't judge me. But you send a message and you don't get a response or a call back, or you call someone and they don't respond to your phone call. And although the person's not saying no to you, they're like just ghosting you. And so you get to this place where it's like, let me not even ask for help because they're not going to do it anyway. And then when I was in relationships, I've heard Tiff say a couple times, like, I don't have a mate. But I was married to someone before my husband now, and I still didn't have anyone I could ask for help or talk to. And so that was even worse because then I go through like a period of friends that were that way. Now I'm married to someone and I can't ask this person for help either. And so you start to feel like, somebody put in the comments, rejection. That's exactly what it is. And so I struggle with rejection big time. That's a thing for me. And anytime somebody shows the slightest bit of like they're rejecting me, I cut them off first because I'm not going to even allow you to make me feel rejected because that's an emotion I struggle with. That's a toxic trait I have that I have to get over, because saying no right now doesn't mean you're completely rejecting me. It might just mean you're busy or you have something going on. But I feel like the first time I ask for it, because I don't usually ask, the first time I ask, if you say no, I'm never going to ask you again. And I'm going to just shut it off because I feel like I can't be made to feel weak anymore in that moment. Shantae's therapizing me, y'all. Y'all see those eyes? Look at her eyes. Look at it. So when y'all see her do this with the eyes, I'm gonna show y'all the look. She's therapizing me. She's judging me in a judgment-free zone. Let's talk about it, Shantae.
No.
Yes, sis.
And the thing is, we all do it, right? Like, yeah. I do it too. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because I just made that post about how do we reject ourselves, right? Like, we are so fearful of being rejected by our friends, family, all of the things, life, that we don't recognize that we've been rejecting ourselves as well, right? And so a lot of times I always say we have to look at our circle, right? Like, were those really your friends? Were those really your people? You know what I'm saying? And so you have to see it as that and not that, okay, this person, like you said, just because they said no this one time doesn't mean that they rejected me. But you also, a lot of times we don't give people the opportunity to help us, right? Because we are hurt. And so as soon as that person say no and they've never experienced your hurt, we're like, deuces. And they like, what? Wait, I don't even, I have to work, right? You know, and so y'all know I'm always holding us accountable for, you know, our stuff, right? But I have been in that position, and I still have my days where I don't even want to ask, right? Like, I don't want to hear the huffing and puffing. I don't want to hear the hesitation, the, oh, well, I keep it. You know, I don't want to hear that all the time, you know? Yeah. It's a hard habit to break. But what I do for myself to to show myself that I'm not rejecting myself, I'm going to ask. And if you say no, okay. But I'm showing up for me because I need to, right? That's the only way that I'm proving to myself that I rock with me, right? The person may say no, but I'm still ask.
I like that. It takes a lot of courage because you have to, it's almost like asking for that date, not knowing if the person's going to say yeah, but you still going to ask for the date anyway, just because. And let me preface it by saying, or let me add a caveat. I have friends on here who I've had and relatives my whole life, and none of them have ever had me ask them for anything. Actually, you know what? I take that back. It was one time, best friend I asked you last year, and you did it so easy. And it made me feel like so grateful that I sent her back more than she gave me. But it was, y'all know last year was a tough year. I was on these hard streets of entrepreneurship, trying to make a way for myself, you know, before I went back to corporate. And I was trying to book my videographer's flight for the event. Do you remember Best Friend? And I was like, best friend, I just need to get this plane ticket because I can't do it right now. And she was like, how much is it, girl? Just here, take my credit card. She started texting me her credit card number. And I was like, whoa. And then she said, I'll do it for you. And she did it. And it was like on my end, I'm like, that was not hard. It was not bad at all.
Real quick on you, Tiffany. Can I chime in on you, ma'am? Because you know about.
Hold on 1 second. Best friend was about to say something.
Okay, go best friend.
No, just I had to work an extra shift. I had to go to another block, but it was okay.
I'm gonna put you in a timeout corner.
I know.
That's why you gotta be there.
You made me wait to say what I had to say for her to say that.
So she took care of it, and then as soon as I got the money, because I was gonna get paid or something, and I was waiting for something to hit. But as soon as it came through, I gave her back a little more than she gave me because I was like, "Thank you so much." And she said, "That's not how much it costs." But for me, it was like, you came through for me. Like you just broke the whole idea that people won't come through for me. And then I started saying, I got to start asking my friends more often. I still haven't asked y'all yet, but I'm like, I got to start asking y'all more often now because I have people on my team who I know will come through if I need them.
So my question, Shanta, my question, because Tiffany, as a friend who I've offered help, she hates for people to do things for her. Do you think that's the result of her not wanting to ask for help? Is that essentially what it is? And when someone just offers to do something for you?
All of that. It's just you feeling like I got it. I don't need you to do it. I got it, right? That's us. That's that superwoman syndrome. That's that I can take on the world. I don't need, if I really need you, I'll let you know. We be lying to ourselves because we never let them know, right? You know, so it's that superwoman syndrome. Like I got it. And if I don't have it, I will let you know. But a lot of times we figure it out before we get to that place. And the thing is, if we could have let that off our plate and allowed you to do it, it would have freed up time for us to do other things or take care of the things that we needed to take care of. And so all of that is a result of, one, you not wanting to be rejected. The other thing is control. Control. How many of us struggle with that?
I'm looking to see because I don't know. Like, how many of y'all struggling with that out there?
That's a part of high functioning anxiety. Control is the characteristic of that,
That's
right?
High functioning anxiety is not even a thing.
It is. I got notes. The other Tiffany had something to say.
No, actually, Yolanda's hand was up. We're going to mute Shanta because she's doing negativity. We don't want to hear it. This is safe space, Shanta.
So I just wanted to add, I think for me, and I'm like maybe more moved by what Evie had shared, but I find it's important for me to let people know where they let me down. So I don't need to cut you off, but we're going to hold you accountable. So if I sent out a text and and these people know what happened to you, I'm sure, Evie, and you couldn't at least, respond and say, oh, I'm having the worst day. I'm so sorry. Anything you could have said to me to let me know that at least my message was important to you. And, sometimes not to get into last episode, but there are things that aren't really that important, but something like that, like, I don't even know you, but I would have been like, hey, I have a cousin there. What do you need? And that's just being human. But I think not letting people off the hook so easy. If we're going to hold ourselves accountable, then I think others should be as well.
I love that. I love that a whole lot.
Yeah.
Shanta, what does that look like? So what does that look like so we're holding somebody accountable. They don't respond to the message. We feel like, I need you to tell me why. What if the person doesn't feel like they owe you an explanation? Is that when you cut them off? I'm trying to figure out when we cut them off.
Right.
I'm teasing y'all. I'm just teasing.
Here's the thing, and I think I get where Yolanda, what she's saying. I don't think she's like, I don't want an explanation. I'm just informing you that your lack of response to something that was important to me or something that I needed and you're supposed to be my people, you didn't come through for me. And I'm putting you on notice that I noticed that you didn't come through for me, right? You don't have to explain it. I don't need the explanation. I think it's just, I want you to know. And here, this is another thing. This is us not rejecting ourselves, right? Hey guys, I don't know what's going on, but I sent out a call. No one answered. I just want to let you guys know that that really hurt my feelings, that disappointed me. And that's it. Right? Like, I don't need an explanation. If they reach out, then we can go into a further conversation. But in order to honor ourselves and honor our feelings, you have to verbalize it. You don't have to roll your neck. You don't have to curse. You don't have to get loud. You don't have to do all of that. I do that sometimes, but you ain't got to do it. You know, but you have to honor yourself, right? And honor those feelings that you have. And so a part of that is speaking up for yourself. And it may be uncomfortable, right? We don't want to tell people that they hurt our feelings. Like, what? But it's the thing. We need to, because feelings hurt.
They don't feel good.
Enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's important to me to find joy in good spaces where I'm advocating for myself. That's so right. I don't feel bad for any of it.
For sure, right, Yolanda.
I love that, right? I love it.
I'm like, next time you answer my text.
I like that.
If your hand was up. Tiffany?
Oh, Tiffany. Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. So in response to that, going back to what Tay was saying regarding control, for me, it's not necessarily control so much as it is lack of trust. For example, case in point, literally, I just hired somebody for my business to do something, to perform a service that I perform for other people that I just, for whatever reason, won't do for myself. And so the service is like just under $5,000 for the service, okay? And I said, okay, but I need to do this, and it's causing me anxiety to do it myself. It's too much. I can do it, but it's going to take me a lot of time, a lot of work, and this person specializes in this, so I'm going to pay it. So what's crazy about this when I talk about lack of trust is that even though the person, I hired her yesterday to do the job, I still told her, I said, but I'm still going to do this alongside you. Like, I'm hiring you to do this, and I'm going to pay you this money, but I'm going to still do my own version of this project. And she's like, but you're paying me all this money to do what I'm about to do. And I said, but I need to know that I could do it. Like, I need to see that I could pull this off for myself. And so, and in my mind, I'm like, but just in case she doesn't do it like I wanted her to do it, you know, I'm going to do it like I know I know I want it done, you know, but I know that she's my, you know, so I say that to say lack of trust, meaning sometimes when we need something, if I need something, if I fear that you're not going to do it to the T like I would have it done, I may refrain from asking you because, you know, I don't want it to be half done or not done, you know, the way I want it. So anyway, and the last thing I wanted to say was regarding not confronting, but calling someone out, you know, when they've hurt you. For some reason, for me, I have gotten to the point to where, yes, I will call someone out at times, you know, not call them out, but just in a lovingly way, just say, this hurt me or I'm disappointed. However, I'm really reluctant to do that. And I do that very sparingly because I'm really big. I'm very intuitive and I'm very big on energy and I watch patterns. And so before I even care to take the time to even go through explaining that, because some people, no matter how you say it, they're going to reject what you say. Sometimes people are just, they don't see it and they're like, they'll downplay your feelings. You know, they'll say they didn't mean it like that, or they were just joking, or you're too sensitive, or whatever the case may be. And because I think that would further hurt me for you to deny my feelings, you know, for you to say it wasn't that bad, you're making too much of it. So before I have you go through all that, I'd rather not say anything. And I watch to see if that's their pattern, if this is just a part of their character, if this is just the kind of person that they are, the kind of person I'm working with. And if that be the case, then I just start slowly but surely just taking steps back, you know, because sometimes trying to put it out there, we just end up going round and round and we have no resolution. And I'm not a confrontational person, and I'm not bringing it to you in confrontation, but some people don't receive it well, no matter how sweet you give it. And so rather than going through all that, I just say, okay, I've observed this, and the next time they do that, I can't deal with this anymore. So, and that's not a good way to do it, but that's just the way I do it, you know.
No, I mean, so what you're saying is not like, it makes perfect sense, and I can understand why you would feel that way. I know something, my husband's not here, so I can tell y'all. Okay, something he used to do when I would ask him to do things is half do it, so I wouldn't ask him to do it again. And I know he does that because my son does the same thing. And I remember my brother's doing that to my grandmother, and my grandmother used to say, okay, so if you're gonna do it wrong, she let him finish it, and then she'll call him back in there and make him do it again, and make him do it as many times as she needed to until they did it right. And so I had to start like literally saying like, can you stop half doing stuff? I know you don't want to do it, but can you please like do it right, or can you do this? And he'll say, what do you mean? And I have to give specific instructions. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. We have to get to this place where we don't just let them off the hook, because they do it wrong. Because sometimes the men don't want to do it, and so they will play games, and you have to make sure that you hold them accountable when it occurs. Just want to drop that little nugget. Have a significant other, because they will do it wrong. They will wash the dishes wrong. They will clean the kitchen wrong. They will. Tawana, your hand is up, and then we'll go to Eddie.
Hi guys. So I think my problem is the opposite, because I got exhausted from saying yes. I am your person. You need help, I'm going to find a way to help you. At least I used to be. And I actually found it liberating and empowering to say no, because I was the opposite. So now I don't ask for help at all, because my thought was, you know, I'm the village mindset. So I want to be a part of the village, be it with your kids, be it with you, whatever it is that my friends need, I want to help. You don't even have to be a friend. I want to help. That's who I am. And what I found was I was forgetting things. I couldn't keep up with myself. I was just overrun. One day I lost my keys in a store, and I could not find the keys. I thought I locked them in a car. The people came to open the car. The keys weren't in the car. The store is like a minute from closing. A friend came to help me, you know, go find the key, maybe get my spare key from home. But we still need to find the key, because my house key was on the keys. So I'm like, oh my God, where's the key? And I remember being in the store, and someone asked me if I would do something for them. And I was so busy with how I was going to help them with their problem, I put my keys down on a shelf and left them in the store. Whatever. Long story short, I had like this breakdown. It was like a mental breakdown where I was sitting in the parking lot, where I had realized that my desire to present this strong persona that I can do anything, I can help everybody, was what was breaking me. So I had like an opposite effect. So no for me is a great thing. Like, but now when I say no to somebody, I know I don't owe them an explanation, but I don't want people to think I'm saying no, as in I can't do anything. I'm saying no because I know I don't owe it, but in my own conscience, I need that. And in saying no, it also helped me to get rid of people who were just using me because they knew my reputation of being a yes person. So no for me was my power. So I just had to show that. And I also do know that the bad thing of my no is I am now a control freak. I know I am. And I'm not owning it in this.
That's what Shanta was talking about. That's what you was talking about, Shanta?
Yeah. I am, because I want to be in control of my space and my time and the people I allow around me. So all of that has come into play with my liberating no. But that's my thing.
I love it.
I need a liberating no. I don't think I got that. I'm a yes person, but I'm still a control freak, so it's natural.
You are, Rika. How is that possible?
I don't know, but it is. I know I'm that person. I don't know how to tell people no. I am the go-to person, and I'm okay with that. But I also know that I'll say yes because I can control it. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. And I had lost that space of control I didn't have the balance of when to say yes and no. And I think I'm in a place where I can, because I still help people, but I was helping people outside of my capacity. And I didn't know, I felt like I was letting people down to tell them no, because you're available, you can do it. If you're not available, you can figure it out. Like I had these extra hours outside of 24. Yeah, that wasn't the case. So
there was an invisible 25.
I call it a superpower to say no, and it's okay to say no.
Yes, it is.
You should see Shanta in her amen corner. Like, I don't know if you're watching her.
Girl,
I can't hear.
Boundaries. That is boundaries. That is boundaries.
Don't go off. Don't go off. You want to get purple hair. Stay on. We want to
know the purple hair. But it's boundaries, right? And then when we set boundaries, and I tell people all the time, that's when you see who for you and who not, right? When you set that boundary. The thing we have to remember is to stay on our side of the boundary. Stay over here, because what happens is we'll set a boundary. We may do it the first day, the first time, and then they're going to try again, right? Because that's what they do. So they're going to keep trying you because they're like, this going to wear off soon. She do this all the time, right? Like they're going to keep trying you, but you have to remember to stay on your side of the boundary because you created it for you. It's not for them. If I can do therapy with everybody, I would. But I have to have a boundary because I have a capacity, and I need to reserve some of this energy for me and the people in my life and the things that I want to do. And so you have to remember, when you set a boundary, stay on your side of it. Stay across that line. Don't cross that line. Don't cross it. Stay.
That's it.
That was good, Shanta.
That was good.
Thank you.
All right, Abby's hand was up. I'm feeling it.
I know this is good.
I wanted to reflect because a few people have said things about what I said first. And one thing, and I think I said this on the last call, is that it occurred to me, or it was something like a reframe for me, is to realize that independence is a myth. Like we actually can't do life by ourselves. That is just something that it's like this invisible aspiration that everyone's trying to live up to, but it's actually not possible to do because that's not how the earth works. Like everything is interdependent. And then I also in those relationships going back to the 13 people who I sent the text to, none of them responded that day. There were some people who responded maybe like a couple days later, and I didn't go back to each person and tell them that it hurt my feelings. But if there were people who responded like, hey, what are you up to? Like as if I hadn't, the last communication for me was not me asking for help, then I was like, okay, let us have a conversation about what was the last text that I sent you, because one of my values is reciprocity. And I am really looking to build relationships with people who are open to receiving my help. Because what I started noticing is that a lot of the people who weren't responding, also when I would offer help to them, they wouldn't receive it. Like I'd be like, oh, can I bring you soup? You said I saw you were sick, and they're like, no. And they're always saying no to me. And so when it occurred to me, I was like, are these people keeping tabs? Like, are they not going to say yes to me because then they feel like there will be an imbalance? It's like, that's not what the kind of relationships that I'm looking for, where people are like, it's like you have a bank account or something and they're like, keeping tabs, and then they feel like if they do say yes, then it's like they're going to owe me something, or if I say yes, then I owe them something. I'm like, this is not the kind of relationships. So as I start, paying attention to those patterns, then I have the choice to set a boundary and be like, is this the sort of friendship that I want to hold on to? And if it's not, I love wishing Godspeed to people on their journey, and I may let them know. Like there was somebody I let know after this, who was one of the people who didn't respond. I was like, this kind of casual dismissiveness, like I understand that's a culture of the place that we live right now, and that this is normal here, but that's not my values. And so those are not the sort of relationships that I'm wanting to invest my time and energy into. Because it does take a village, and it's like I'm trying to put together a village of people who are supporting each other, because we understand that that's the way the world operates, is interdependent. And, you know, some of the people who helped me, it was a one-off. It was like, we hadn't talked, they saw I needed help, you know, and that's where the networking came in. But it really started me reflecting on like what sort of relationships, like how do I not keep ending up in this situation? Part of that is like really paying attention to the relationships that I'm cultivating. And if I am cultivating relationships with people who are like keeping tabs, who are like, you know, fair weather friends, they're like, oh, let me know when you get better. It's like, that's not the kind of friend that I'm looking for, you know, like when let me know when you can walk again so we can hang out. Like, I'm looking for the friends who are like, can I come over? Can I take you somewhere? Because that's the sort of friend I would be. And so it really is like looking at how developing friendships with people who have shared values, so that we're not in this negative cycle of like, you know, keeping tabs, or like, next thing you know, I think they're going to throw it in my face if I have to say no because I'm busy. But to know that we all have a network and we're depending on each other, and it's not just this kind of independent spirit that we're cultivating, but it's more like interdependence and shared values, and putting my energy where it deserves to be. So if the people didn't respond, I don't need to spend my energy going back and telling them that I hurt my feelings unless they come back to me. And then I'm like, okay, before we can continue, let me make sure that we're on the same page. Yeah. This is my value. This is why this hurt. It hurt not to hear back from you. Now I'm hearing from you. Can we have a conversation about this to clear the air? Because sometimes it might have been a misunderstanding. They're like, I didn't get your text. You know, there could be all sorts of reasons, but ultimately it's like, we need to have a conversation about, because this is the sort of friendships that I have are not people who would just not respond. They might be like, I can't, you know, let me, you know, now is not, I see your text, they might heart it, you know, something to acknowledge that they received it, you know, and not just to ignore it and then respond to me a week later and ask if we can hang out because I didn't text them asking for assistance before.
Have you said that like you experienced that before?
Oh, oh yeah, I was literally repeating what happened.
Abby's like, I want to make sure I get this out. And you're saying it in such a way that I could almost tell that it's something that it bothered you and you experienced it, but you wanted to still be respectful of the relationship and of the situation that you experienced. So thank you for sharing that with us as well.
Yeah, because we can always say yes. That's the thing. It's like, but it's the spirit. It's like, did you acknowledge, like, you know, and build a network so that I'm not just relying on just one person every single time I need something. Yeah.
Keisha, I see your hand is up, and then we're going to turn the corner because now we have to talk about ways in which we help ourselves through high functioning depression. Keisha?
Yeah, so Abby just said everything I was going to say about how important communication is. Like, we have to have that little bit of conversation. And I'm totally with, I think it was Yolanda that said that you have to tell how you're feeling and you're thinking, because it's about you. It is about you. Sometimes we have to be selfish and we have to let it out, because when we keep our feelings and our thinking about a lack of communication or why something has happened, that's when we explode. And I'm all about love and kindness, but one of my mottos is it's okay to be selfish. Like, I'm totally with Tawana when she said that it's okay to say no, because I've been there where I was the yes girl all the time. And I popped. I popped because I could not handle all the responsibilities that I was allowing myself to take on and not asking for help. So be selfish. That is the only time I think it's okay to be selfish, is when you know that you have too much on your plate and you have to say no. But communicating your why, because everybody's going to have a different perception about why you're saying no. That simple communication, you don't have to elaborate, but communication is so important just to make sure those relationships stay strong. And when you say no and let them know why, maybe that might open the door for them to be there for you as well.
Mm-hmm. And to add to that too, right? Because we also have to understand that like everyone isn't going to be like us, right? And so I don't want to put out like messaging that if someone isn't like me, I need to cut them off, right? So there are people who are going to do what we need them to do. And then there are other people you kind of have to tell. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm that friend, right? Like, if you're sick, you have to say, sis, can you come over here? And I'm gonna come, right? And you know I rock with you, right? And so that's just my personality, because even here recently with my best friend, with Amitria, like, if I'm going through something, I texted her and I was like, fool, I'm about to break, right? Like, it's a lot going on. I don't know what to say, but I'm over here crying, I'm about to break. And then I said, I just need you to listen. I don't need no church stuff, because she gonna start sending me scriptures and sending me songs and sending me prayers. And I just wasn't in the mood for that. But I let her know that. And her response was, I got you, food. Don't worry about it. What you need, right? Like,
my dog. Come on, Amitria.
Right. And so right. And so it's just, for me, I'm that person. And so I don't want you to feel like if someone isn't giving me what I need exactly how I give it to other people, that person isn't for me. And that goes with emotional intelligence. That goes with you knowing yourself, and that goes with you fostering these relationships around you where they're all gonna look different, but you know in every way that they are for me. What you doing, Tiffany? What's happening?
I mean, that was just so good when you said it. I was like, oh, that's good. I need to take that with me when I leave here today. Just make sure I bring that along with me.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
And it does, and it feeds into the 5 love languages, really, Tay. It feeds into, so we can't get offended or upset or disappointed every time someone doesn't meet every need that we say. The 1 or 2 times we are vulnerable enough to let it out, put it out there that we need something, because just like the 5 love languages, people love us differently. People do things differently. People have their own ways, but that doesn't mean that they mean us any harm because they weren't able to meet the need the way we needed the need met, So I definitely can go with you on that one, Tay. That was really good. That was really good.
If I can, real quick, that's why I put in the chat earlier that we have to be specific. Like, we have to tell, especially our significant others, what we want and how we want it. Because sometimes people may think they are doing great or they're doing their best, and they don't know how to love you or to help you the way you need it. So we have to advocate. Who said advocate like a million times earlier? I think it was Yolanda. We have to advocate for ourselves, but it's all about how we do it, when we do it, that emotional intelligence, know how to seek out when the moment is to explain and let them know, look, this is what I need and how I need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tawana, your hand was up, and then
that's something that I live by. I actually have that as a notice on my desk, and I say, stop expecting you from other people. And
absolutely.
Because before I react to people, I'll stop myself to say, that may not have been their intent. And I will say things another way. Maybe I should address it this way. And you can take that as a negative thing. You can take it as a positive thing, but I have to remind myself, this person is not going to be kind to me because I was kind to them. They don't even know what kindness is because they're so bitter. I have to acknowledge that about people. So my theory is, stop expecting you from other people. That's how I live.
My husband sent you over here. He sent you here, didn't he, Tawana? Because my husband had that same talk with me the other day.
Yes.
He's like, you will have fewer disappointments in life if you stop expecting you from everybody else.
Yes, it is my truth, because I'm a giver. I never give the intent that I should be receiving. I'm just a giver, and I just in my head I think that somebody has a part of them that they want to give, but that's a huge misconception, and it will leave you disappointed. Not that you want something from somebody. It's just, it's odd to see people being so selfish and literally on this earth only for themselves. I don't even understand how they think that earth is going around. We all literally need each other. And I live with that.
Why can't we? I always have to ask this question every time it comes up. Karmic debt. Why, if you're manifesting the things you want. If you're putting out positivity and you're giving to people, why shouldn't we expect to receive the same things we're giving to other people?
You can, but you may not be able to expect it from that person.
That's
right.
So
you may experience kindness from somebody else, but you don't even know the capacity that other person has to give or even receive what you're trying to give to them. So you may be, I heard, I think it was T.D. Jakes talking about Oprah and her mom, her relationship with her mom. And he was talking about her having this 10-gallon capacity to love, and her mom only having like a pint size capacity to give. So it was basically saying, she was trying to love you and she loved you within her capacity. Yes. Some people just don't have the capacity to give back to you what you put into them. And we overwork ourselves expecting that, because the Bible teaches us to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. But the others may not be that person in particular because they don't have the capacity to do so. That's
not gonna get Shanta. Y'all not gonna get Shanta. Y'all don't see her over here doing. Y'all gonna see her throwing games at me.
And then the thing is, because we give, and we expect it from that person, and we neglect the other things in our lives that are positive, that are pouring back into us, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was just gonna say that when we are done with this call and you are trying to figure out where to start, the person that you want the love from, wanted the love from, wanted the emotion from, wanted all of that from, you need to start there and heal that. Because we are walking around here trying to fill this void from someone who's hurt us in the past, be it a parent, be it a spouse, be it whoever. And we go around trying to get people to make us feel how we wished that person made us feel. And we are disappointed every single time, right? And so that's the part that we have to heal in order to get to this place where we have the emotional intelligence to know, like, I can see you from a mile away. You're not for me. I don't even have to go through the process, right? That's like, I'm not committing at hello. Just because you said hi and told me I was cute don't mean we in this relationship together. And so it all goes back to us. Stop committing at hello. People say, hey, and now we friends, and then you get mad because they disappointed you, and y'all have no clue who these people are.
See, I just talked about that on my post today, right? I just talked about you have to get to know people. You got to understand them.
And then last thing, because you did it well, Tiffany. So because y'all know we building, this is new, but we rocking. But because we don't know each other, like what I appreciate about Tiffany is something will happen and she'll send a text message, hey, I don't, let this person know I don't like how they looked or whatever. They didn't say your name. I hope you don't think that is. And I'm like, girl, no. Like, I know you rocking with me, but for her, she needs that clarity, right? Because she don't know me like that yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I just want to be mindful of how I am, and just to make sure that, okay, what I'm doing is okay. I don't want to step on no toes. I want this relationship to work, this friendship to work. And so if I feel a certain kind of way, I'm going to question it, right? Like, hey, sis, I don't know what happened, but it was, and it's like, oh, no, I wasn't even tripping about that. And that's exactly what I said. Like,
you said that. And I'm like, what you? And so then I'm like, here's the thing. You know how, like, if you didn't do anything, but some people will be like, you look guilty. So then I'm like, so do I not say anything? Because, as we're building, to your point, it's so new. And I care so much about what we're building. And I'm like, I don't want anything to cause anything to make stuff go wrong. Because you know how it works. Yeah. Something will happen, and it'll kind of be in your head, but you don't vocalize it. Yeah. Then something else happens, and you're like, oh, this happened and this happened. So you like adding things up, and over here I'm like completely oblivious. So I want to make sure as I see it, I'm calling it out right then, like fix it so nothing has room to fester. Because Satan is real good at breaking apart good stuff. Like he loves to tear things down. And I don't like playing them games with him. He played way too much, and I ain't got time for it. So I did want to talk about if you are suffering from high functioning depression, because you didn't let me use my PowerPoint. So I didn't get to all of my points we had to talk about, but this was still such a good conversation. I'm glad we had it. I want us to just have some things to take away from the conversation with us as we go through this work week and through the next week as well. So I know you said to start with the person, which was good advice. Start with the person you didn't get the love from. Start there. In therapy and start to heal.
Definitely.
My thing, and I was going to say this, if you've been, in terms of asking for help, if you have someone in your life who you've asked for help, this person hasn't come through for you, or these people haven't come through for you, and you're like, you know what, fresh slate, because the first part of my advice is going to be fresh slate. Whoever said no or didn't show up before, they're done, and we're moving forward. If one of those people are a part of your life now, this doesn't mean you get off the call and tomorrow ask the same people who disappointed you for help, because they're going to reinforce the idea that they don't support you, and you're going to be back at square one. So I believe it would be beneficial or advantageous for us to accept that we have encountered people who were not supportive. We have been in relationships that did not give us the love we needed, and that's okay. It's not okay, but it's life. It happens. We're going to move past it. But as you start to move forward, don't handle all of your newer relationships in that way, expecting that they're going to do the same thing that the people before them did. Have a fresh perspective and allow people to come through for you, because to Evie's point, we are not, like, we can't do this by ourselves. It's not possible. So we have to be able to lean into other people, and we have to be emotionally intelligent enough to keep people around us who are trustworthy, who are dependable, who are credible, who have our best interests at heart. For me too, I had to learn that it was okay to not know everything. And I had to learn that it was okay to not take on all the tasks, because we're always taught, and I don't know if, you know, I might have women watching who are not Black women, but I know as a Black woman, I was always trained that you have to be 10 times sharper, you have to be 10 times faster, you got to be 10 times better, you got to be able to do all the things. And so I would be at work until 8, 9 o'clock. My counterparts are long gone. They're home with their families eating food, because I want to make sure everything is in tip-top shape and all of my stuff is done, and I can answer any questions in the morning, and you're not going to catch me off guard. But what happens is, like, I was exhausted, and I was frustrated, and I was burnt out, and I was resentful, and it was my fault because I believed the narrative. I fed into that. And there is some truth to us having to be able to do everything very well for us to move our career, because right now, unfortunately, the needle hasn't moved yet where we are treated equitably in the workplace. People are doing the work for that. I hope to be one of them one day, but right now we're not there. So there is going to be some truth to having to work a little bit harder, but I don't want you to work harder for them. If you choose to work harder for you. Like, if you have a personal goal you want to meet, if you have something you want to do, if you have something that means something to you, and you decide, I'm going to work a little harder or stay a little later because I want to accomplish this for me, that's the only time I'm going to encourage you to go over and above. Don't do it because somebody else is demanding that of you. Shanta, do you have something you want to add?
Yes, ma'am. So
let's go.
I have 5 points. So the first one, of course, is therapy, right? That's it. Nothing else needs to be said. The other thing is you being real with yourself. I'm always big on self-accountability, and we have to recognize ways in which we present toxic or unhealthy traits, right, that may contribute to the downfall or the miscommunication of this relationship. The other thing is you sitting down and recognizing what's on your plate, and then loving yourself enough to relinquish things that do not belong to you. So here's an activity that I give to clients, and I'm giving to you and everybody else. I want you guys to, at the end, whenever you do it, just take a paper plate, get a marker, a Sharpie, and just start writing everything that's on your plate. And I mean, from work, from being a mom or a dad, from being a spouse, all of that. Even the things that are constantly on your mind that may not belong to you. So I'm thinking about Amitra, oh my gosh, she's stressing because of such and such and such and such, right? So that thing that ruminates in the back of your mind often, write that on this plate. And I want you to look at that plate and see how full this plate is, and then start to take things off. Right? Like marking them out, like that don't belong to me. That's not mine. I shouldn't even be worried about that like that. And do that and see what you end up with. So that's just a little activity. I'll post it again on, we're gonna make it so.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing is when you are in the
I got it. Let's do a clean your plate giveaway.
Oh, I love
that.
Yes. Okay. Good. I'm write that down. We can announce it on Monday, but keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay, so the other thing is when we think about making decisions, because a lot of this, our high functioning anxiety and depression sometimes can look like us saying yes to everything, thinking we can get everything done. So with every decision, I just want you to ask yourself, does this honor what I want for myself? And that's either yes or no. If it's a no, it's a no. Right? If it's a yes, then do it. Because there are certain times where it is in our path, in our purpose to serve, to help, right? But we also have to take care of ourselves. So we have to make sure we're honoring ourselves in every decision that we make, every agreement that we make, every relationship that we're in. And so be mindful of that. And then the last thing is finding relaxation or mindfulness techniques. So anything that's going to keep you calm. I like what Tiffany did on the podcast where it's like a mental vacation, right? So get in sand, sticking your feet in the sand, taking yourself away, doing things outside, right? So if you work from home, try sitting on the porch or sitting in the back or on your patio, get some fresh air. So change up your routine and do things for you that make you feel good, right? Regardless of how it may make anyone else feel, make sure that it's what you want and what you need. And I will say, Black self-care looks different from other self-care, right? A lot of times our self-care can simply be getting in bed and watching TV all day.
Yes, God.
You know what I'm saying? And so that looks different for us. And so whatever it is for you that is going to make you feel recharged, re-energized, or relaxed, do that thing. Not drugs or alcohol, outside of that, okay? We don't want to do any addictions, okay? So, do that thing that keeps you motivated and excited and inspired. So those are my 5 little things.
My daughter said in the comments, taking breaks from social media helps.
Ooh,
she is the queen. Lonnie, you want to talk about how much you like, you just really come off social media for like a whole year. And I'm like, you're 20. Who does that?
That's my problem, because people be over there like, where Instagram at? Baby, Instagram been off my phone for like 3 months. I don't know. I need a peace of mind. And sometimes seeing all the stuff going on in the world and seeing all the stuff on social media, I be going crazy in my head. So sometimes I just need a break. I just don't, know.
Do you have any other tips for the ladies? What else helps you besides food?
I was about to say eating, but then that's not a good tip. So
I saw a podcast episode that said food is not bad. I'm gonna send you that one.
But it is though.
I mean,
food is bad.
I get it.
It makes me feel better. I drink Starbucks almost every day, and ice cream. Yeah.
Y'all mute her. She's not helping us out. We trying to lose weight.
But I'm not gonna let you do her like that. She right, food is bad, okay?
It helps you feel. I don't know. It helps me feel better because maybe I'm just a fat girl at heart, but for real, it helps me feel better. Like if I go out to eat, I feel so much better. Like my attitude is gone.
You ain't got to be a fat girl to do that, honey. Skinny girls get happy too when they see a big old plate of food.
That's true. I don't know. It's just something about food, I was about to say going out, but it depends. Like you have to go out around positive people or people who want like the same stuff as you. You can't be going around with just anybody because sometimes that don't really help either.
I second the whole thing about the food. You know how I feel about my blue Jolly Ranchers, ma'am. Yeah.
Wait, so it's funny, and we'll have to have a conversation about this later, but my daughter and I talk about this all the time because she always tells me that her generation is really depressed. Like everybody in school is depressed all the time. And she always says, like, I've never seen such unhappy people in my life. Like, she doesn't even understand it. It doesn't make sense for her. But I was going to say a couple things. I know Tiff mentioned creating a safe space, and she had the sand for her feet, which I thought was really cool. I personally can't do that because I like the water part of the beach. I don't like the sand part. So that wouldn't make me excited. But physical fitness, we talk about it a little bit. And I think we don't really understand how much physical fitness can really impact the way we feel, happiness, healthiness. And so we have to do ourselves a favor and not just create safe spaces like in the house or create a morning routine, but also make regular fitness or juicing or better eating a part of our regimen. Because I'm telling you all, when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, we have a propensity to get like coffee or things like that. And that's going to add to, caffeine is going to add to those feelings. So you almost want to wean yourself off the stressors and put yourself in a position where you're consuming raw fruits and veggies or fresh pressed juices. I know I juice like often, I fast often, and that really helps me to control a lot of my anxiety that I have, because I don't feel that like, you know, to keep going or to keep pushing myself beyond my limitations. Tiffany, your hand is up and we'll close out. You're on mute. Let me unmute you.
So yes, I want to say, so again, we're on the same page. Actually, I just did some podcasts about that, about all of those. But so episodes are on there about that. But I have been painting. Literally, I wouldn't proclaim myself to be an artist, but I love this. I love cultivating plants. It's like my thing. And so I've been painting. Like I've been going and getting. At first, I started off just getting some canvases from Hobby Lobby. But then I moved to, I think one time we were out of canvases and I was at Walmart and they had little, you know, just your terracotta, like the clay pots. They were like 94 cents for one. So my girls and I, my daughters and I, we do self-care Saturdays. So we've been painting clay pots and like we just hand decorate them every week. I even went and got embellishments. So like I have chains and jewelries and all kinds of embellishments on my clay, on my flower pots. And I love that. But one thing that what I wanted to say was you have to first, we as women of color, we have got to make ourselves vulnerable. We've already said it before, we have the superwoman syndrome, but if we want help, and if we expect for someone to be able to come in and help us, we have to be vulnerable. And it's gonna look like most likely being vulnerable and looking for that help in places we weren't expecting. What I mean by that is, I literally, before COVID, I networked all the time. Like I love to network. And so I'm always at a networking event for professionals or whatever. Literally, I've latched on to, I call my sisters and they are not women of color. You know, one in particular, I held a networking event, we've been like really good friends. And we call each other sis, you know, and she puts up the brown emojis whenever it's like an emoji. She always, bless her heart, she's not. But all that being said, we literally just newly started this thing where we schedule on Thursdays at noon. That's our time together. Like before, we were just willy-nilly and we knew we were friends, but that was it. But literally, it's like, I need somebody, you know? And so if you don't have access to therapy, and I hope that everyone does, the therapy could just be in just unloading with someone that you trust, a friend. And so it may not be someone that you thought was in your closest circle. It might be someone that was out there that you didn't even know was willing to be the friend that you needed. And so if you could just find somebody you can schedule some time with, you almost like a therapy session, I know that on this day, I know if I don't talk to them any other time, I have their attention, they have mine for a half hour. We're going to do lunch together via Zoom. So that's what I wanted to say, was just to be vulnerable and be willing to speak up to someone that you may have not thought was even going to be the one you was expecting. You never know, in the Bible, we talk about the Good Samaritan, the person that they didn't think, you thought the Jews or the whoever was going to come by and help this man. It was a Samaritan that helped this guy. The help came from someone you least expected. So that's what I would say, is just be open-minded with where your help could come from.
I want to tell y'all, affirmations only work if you believe it. So make sure that as you are, for some reason I just started echoing. I don't know why. Okay, so affirmations only work if you believe them. So as we're writing down, affirm ourselves, make sure that we start to believe the things we're actually saying, so they actually have a chance of working for us. So to close out the conversation, I am going to ask all of you ladies to type an affirmation in the chat box that you're going to tell yourself. You're saying this to yourself right now on this call, and say I am, and finish how you're going to ask for help. So, or I am going to ask for help by doing this. I am brilliant, and I'll start asking for help by blah, blah, blah. I want to see it in the chat box. While you're listening, if you're on Instagram, let me go to my presentation, because I didn't do it for no reason. So if you are on Instagram, please be sure to follow us. Shanta goes by @thehomegirl therapist, and I am online as pods_and_PR. Please make sure you are following us. We will be recapping this conversation on Monday during our recap call, which is called So What Had Happened Was. That's what the SWHHW hashtag is, and basically we talk about so what had happened during our virtual connection call, and then we just kind of add some things to the conversation that we might not have had a chance to get to. Shanta, I loved the activity, so we'll definitely do a clean your plate giveaway. Yes. And I was trying to get some names tonight in a wheel, but I don't think we had time to make that happen. So let me
I got it.
Oh, you did?
We got the name, but I thought you wanted to do it on Monday like you normally do.
You want to do it on Monday?
Yeah, because I have the names.
Okay, so then we will, basically everybody who's on the call tonight and everybody who's watching the call will be entered for a chance to win a virtual connection giveaway box. Thank you all for your participation. We're going to take best friend out. She's not going to win again. And we're going to take Gab out. She's not going to win.
Can I win a virtual connection box?
Who's that?
Amani.
You win because you've never won before. But those two winners, we're going to take them out. Winners, okay?
You tried it though, but it didn't work. I know the rest of it.
All right, so affirmations. I am more than enough. I am at peace and will ask for help. I am lovable and I will allow others to love me. I am qualified. I am capable and will start asking for help when I feel like I'm not. Ooh. I am smart and I will start asking for help when I feel like I want to ask for help. I am worthy of assistance and support, and I will accept this support without guilt. Oh my God, I love that one. I am enough and I am worth it. I am courageous. I am grateful. I need help with asking for help. Okay, we're going to work on you. We got a solution for that, Tawana. Stay tuned. I am enough and I will acknowledge when I am overwhelmed without guilt. Cookie, you better promise me that. What kind of mess is this? Okay.
The resistance. Eb is always the resistance.
And then Tiff says, I am loved, I am loved, I am light. I will begin asking for help by nothing my feelings and share with my accountability partner on Thursday at lunch. I love it. Eb said, this is rigged. Eb, I am worthy of and full of light. Eb is our love problem child. She is. I used to use all the quotes on Being Mary Jane for affirmations also. Y'all watch that show, laugh out loud. That's my daughter. There's a song by Iiii called I Am Light. If you've never heard that song before, I encourage you to download that song and put it on repeat. It is going to bless your soul immensely. I listen to that song like 100 times a day. I love that song. Tawana, that's my favorite artist, okay? Anyway, it's been a pleasure speaking with you ladies tonight.
Wait. And listen, y'all.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a part of the Beehive. And I really want you guys to watch Black is King. Here's the thing, even if you don't love Beyonce.
I love her.
That is a piece of art that has inspired me and motivated me and reminded me of how dope I am and how dope Black people are. And so y'all need to watch it. It's really amazing. The visuals are,
I remember when she made Brown Skin Girl. I think I was in your office and you were like, have you heard this song before? And I went and I listened to it. And I love that song.
It's really good. It's really good. Okay, I'm done.
So we're gonna watch Black is King. Thank you, ladies, so much for this call tonight. It was so therapeutic for me. I hope you all enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it? Can I see like a thumbs up hand or something if you did? Yay, cool. So we'll be on live Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what happened was, and tell your friends about our channel. If they didn't get a chance to join the conversation, they can come back and they can watch it. And Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was such a pleasure to have you.
This was great, Tiff. This was great, girl. This is great.
Both tips.
Both tips, right?
Because that's hard to do them like Tiff and Tiff.
All right, let me stop this YouTube